And welcome back for some more ratio time. Let's check it out. A county superintendent of highways is interested in the numbers of different types of vehicles that regularly travel within his county. In the month of August, a total of 192 registrations were purchased for passenger cars and pickup trucks at the local DMV. So passenger car is like the car that I drive. Pickup truck, you know what a pickup truck is. So the DMV reported that in the month of August, for every 5 passenger cars registered, there were 7 pickup trucks registered. How many of each type of vehicle were registered in the county in the month of August? All right. Using the information in the problem, write 4 different ratios and describe the meaning of each. Well, first, I have 5 to 7, which is cars to trucks. And then I can have 7 to 5, which of course is going to be trucks to cars. Now these are both part-part ratios, where the cars are part of the whole, trucks are part of the whole, but I'm comparing part to another part. Now I'm going to use some part-whole ratios. So if my ratio is 5 to 7, then I know my total is going to be 12, because 5 plus 7 is 12. So 5 out of every 12 vehicles are cars. So that's the ratio of cars to vehicles, since cars and trucks are both vehicles. And then for trucks, 7 to 12. Trucks to vehicles. Now make a tape diagram that represents the quantities in the part-to-part ratios you wrote. So remember, these are the part-to-part. Because 5 and 7 are just parts of how many vehicles there were total. So our tape diagram, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And then the bottom one's going to need 7 to represent our 5 to 7. And then let's see, we're going to label C for cars, T for trucks. How many equal-sized parts does that tape diagram consist of? 5 here, 7 here, for a total of 12. So what total quantity does the tape diagram represent? Look back up at our problem. Okay, the total number of vehicles registered in August. And we know from the story problem that the total equals 192 vehicles. So to figure out what each chunk of our tape diagram represents, let's draw it again because it's all the way back on the other page. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. And all of this, the whole stinking thing, equals 192. So I've got 12 chunks here, so I'm going to do a little long division over here really quick. 12 goes into 19 once. 19 minus 12, 7. Bring down my 2. 12 goes evenly into 72. Phew, I love it when it's even. 16. So each chunk on our tape diagram represents 16 vehicles. And this is going to help us answer this last question. How many of each type of vehicles was registered in August? So to figure that out, I'm going to need 16 times 5 and then 16 times 7. So 16 times 5, 80. 16 times 7, and 112. So we know that that's 80 cars and 112 trucks. Now we're getting just a little more complicated. So the superintendent of highways is further interested in the numbers of commercial vehicles that frequently use the county's highways. Commercial means owned by a company. He obtains information from the DMV for the month of September and finds that for every 14 non-commercial vehicles, there were 5 commercial vehicles. I'm going to write that ratio down real quick, 14 to 5. If there were 108 more non-commercial vehicles than commercial vehicles, how many of each type of vehicle frequently uses the county's highways during the month of September? All right, you know how we're going to start this. Tape diagram. So here are the commercial vehicles. C for commercial. And then this sucker needs 14. It's going to be way long. Okay. All right, and then this is going to be an NC for non-commercial. Now, here's where you got to pay attention. There were 108 more non-commercial vehicles. So that means that this part right here, this is the more. So this right here is 108. So these 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 chunks all add up to 108. So if that's 108, then how many is each chunk going to be worth? Well, do your division. 9 doesn't go into 1, but it sure goes into 10, just the once. 9 goes into 18, 12 times. So now we know that each chunk is 12. And not just those, that means all the chunks are 12. Now we can solve pretty much anything. So it's asking us how many of each type of vehicle uses the county's highway during September. So that means for here, for the commercial, we need to do 12 times 5, which we know are times tables. We know that equals. So commercial equals 60. Non-commercial, we need to do 12 times 14. That's a little harder, so we can go over here. 4 times 2 is 8. 4 times 1 is 4. Add our 0. 1 times 2 is 2. 1 times 1 is 1. 48, I'm going to have to go over here. 48 plus 120, 8, 6, 1. So 168 non-commercial vehicles. And there we go. Good luck on the exercises, guys. I want you to be working on those in your small groups.